Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin and today we're going to talk about my 2024 reading goals. I just want to let you know that while these are the goals that I'm setting at the beginning of the year, we'll revisit these mid-year, see if it still resonates with me, or I'm good for just being like, that goal didn't exist, never existed. But as of today, these are the things that I want to try to accomplish this year with my reading. But before we get into my goals, I'd love to know what goals you had this year, reading or otherwise. Let me know down below. I also feel like when you share your goals, by sharing them, saying them out loud, there's a level of accountability. Because, if I tell you I'm gonna read, I don't know, 155 books, you might be saying, how's that reading goal going? And I might be saying, I haven't looked at a book in days. It might inspire me to get back on my grind, or not. So that being said, let's get into my goals. First goal I have is I'm not setting a book number this year. Normally I increase my number by 5 every year. And in fact, last year my goal was to read less books. And then I still ended up reading just a little over 100. And so this year I set my Goodreads goal at 1, and we're just gonna see where life takes us. Will I read 12? Will I read 122? Probably not. But we'll see. We're just gonna go with the flow. So the goal is 1. I mean, technically the goal is 0, but I know I'm definitely going to read at least 1 because I have at this point already finished 1, 2 in fact. So yeah, we're just gonna see where the reading takes us. My second goal is the same goal I've had for maybe the past 2 or 3 years, which is reading more presidential biographies. Last year I read Coolidge and Hillary Clinton because I wasn't gonna read about Trump, so there's that. And I did. I completed those and I read them. So proud of myself. So at some point, I will pick a name from my presidential TBR jar and read a biography. I've actually been enjoying just picking the names because when I was going in order, I was getting bored reading about the same events over and over. But as I'm just like picking, it's decade roulette. Like you just don't know at what point in US history you're gonna get. So like I said, I had Calvin Coolidge, who was right before the Great Depression and also not very interesting president wise, but I had that time period, and then I go fast forward to Hillary Clinton, which is obviously it ranged from like the 90s to the 2000s. My third goal is something that I had last year and I did not do a great job of, but this year I want to be more intentional about it, and so that is around the world, where I read a book from a different setting or an author from a different country that is not the US. Preferably not North America, but definitely not the US, because I feel like I read a lot of American authors and a lot of things I read are set in the US. So we're just gonna exclude that. I think last year I read maybe 2, but this year I want to make it more intentional. So I'm setting the goal of 12, which means that every month I will pick a new country, find a book, read it. I'm thinking about doing a random country generator thing, or I can't figure out whether I just want to do like a random country or if I like want to think about the country that I want to find a book from. Some countries are going to be a little harder to find books from than others, especially if a lot of their works are not translated, but I can certainly try to find something that is set in that country. Another goal of mine is 6 nonfiction, which does not include the 2 presidential biographies that I will read. I feel like last year I was not really reading a lot of nonfiction, which is fine, but I do enjoy reading nonfiction, and so I also want to be more intentional about that. And so 6, that's 1 every other month, because nonfiction can be a little denser, a little chunkier, and so it takes me a little bit longer to get through than a fiction book. And so 6 I feel like is a good number. It's 1 every 2 months. I should be able to do that. And I have a ton of nonfiction, well, not a ton, but I have a lot of unread nonfiction books on my shelves and just in my like want to read list. So the possibilities are not endless, but like almost not. My last goal, it's about my owned books. If you've been following my bookend series, you know that I am not always doing so great In fact, my next video after this one will be my next bookends. And I haven't filmed it yet, but I can tell you that I'm probably not under where I started in October. But this year, I definitely want to get down to 115 unread books on my TBR. And I know you're thinking like, that's still a lot of books. Yes, but that's where we're gonna go. 115, I think I can make it, especially considering that this year, just in general, not just in my reading life, but in general, I am doing a low buy year. One of the things is that I can only buy a book a month unless I go to the physical store, and then I can buy 2 books because I do not go to bookstores a lot. I order books online a lot, but if I go to a bookstore, I can get 2. So that is a thing. So I won't be buying a ton of books this year. And I said that last year, and look where we are. It's still with a lot of books on my unread physical TBR. But then I also got sucked into Stuff Your Kindle days. So I did the romance ones, and there were a couple of like horror ones and fantasy ones. And I was just putting those books on my Kindle. And that to me is actually a problem because unlike my physical books where I can see them, I can see like it amassing, my Kindle books, it's on there, it's done, it's out of my mind. And so I think I have like 80 something. Let me know if you would be interested in a what's on my Kindle video, and then we can, maybe you guys can help me decide what I need to read. But I think I have like 80 something, maybe a little bit more to be honest. But I really want to get that down to 60 for sure. And I think I can do that. I have enough books between my Kindle and between my actual owned physical books to be set for the whole year. Now, obviously, I will read things that are outside of my own books, but I'm really going to try to focus on those books and get it down, just for my own peace of mind and sanity. And maybe what I really need to do is go through my physical books and unhaul some things that I'm no longer interested in. So those are like my reading goals. As far as booktube type goals, I'm going to try to be more consistent. You know, I try this every year and I fall off sometime mid-spring when the sun comes out and it's nice and warm and I want to just be outside. I don't want to be inside reading and I just fall off. But I am going to try to be a little bit more consistent. I would also like to do one sprint a month with you guys. I think it's just so fun, all of us getting together, reading, chatting. It's always a good time. Sometimes descends into chaos on this channel. Not my fault. It's never my fault. It's always the troublemakers that come onto sprints with me. And then the other thing is, I participated in Blackaweenathon last year. I was a co-host and I participated years before, but I really kind of forgot like how much fun I have with readathons. And so I think I may try to participate in some more readathons, some of the lesser known ones that you don't hear talked about a lot, or maybe just anything that really catches my eye, ear, whatever, you know what I mean. So I'm definitely going to try to participate in some more readathons this year because I just think it's a fun time. I love the community aspect of it. But again, these are my goals for 2024. Do any of them resonate with you? Do you think that you'll implement any of these for your own goals? Again, what are your goals? Let me know down below. We'll revisit these again in mid-year, so like July. And until next time. Bye.